Hello, everyone. We have a lot to get to tonight. I'm Chris Thomas.
I'm Laura Painter. Thanks for joining us at 5:30. We start tonight with the U.S. suspending immigrant visa processing from 75 countries. An important distinction here is the suspension only applies to immigrant visas, like those required to work in the U.S., not student or tourist visas. People impacted will still be allowed to visit the U.S. and attend school here.
Now, the countries listed include Brazil, Colombia, Egypt, Haiti, Somalia, and Russia. It comes after the State Department directed more scrutiny into applications under the public charge provision. The new suspension starts 1 week from today on Wednesday, and some of the countries are already on the Trump administration's expanded travel ban. Well, today, a three-judge federal panel decided 2-1 to uphold Proposition 50, California's new congressional maps that give Democrats a 5-seat advantage. You may remember voters overwhelmingly approved Prop 50 back in November, but the California Republican Party and the Trump administration sued, saying it was unconstitutional. They requested a preliminary injunction to pause the maps from taking effect as candidates file for the 2026 election. That motion was denied and sets the stage for appeals up to the Supreme Court. The judges said the plaintiffs failed to show racial gerrymandering actually happened.
It's really something that we weren't too surprised on. We sued off the basis that race played a predominant factor in this map-making process. If all judges agreed unanimously, that's a very clear repudiation of where we're at. But this, in my opinion, was a fairly scathing dissent.
Meanwhile, Democratic leaders say the judges have reaffirmed the voices of California voters. In a statement, Governor Newsom reacted in part saying Republicans' weak attempt to silence voters failed. So what comes next? Well, Republicans say they plan to appeal to the Ninth Circuit and then to the Supreme Court if necessary.
Tonight, Assemblymember James Gallagher announces he will run to fill late Congressman Doug LaMalfa's seat in a special election. Gallagher is a Republican who currently represents District 3 in the state assembly. The announcement says he will be a candidate in the upcoming special election in the 1st Congressional District. Congressman Doug LaMalfa represented that district for several years and died last week. Gallagher says he made the decision after reflecting with both his family and the LaMalfa family. Gallagher said in a statement, quote, "Jana and I are so grateful to have the support of Jill LaMalfa and her family as we move forward to earn the support of the people of the 1st Congressional District to carry on Doug's good work." So far, he is the first to announce a run for this seat in a special election. Also announced, Congressman Doug LaMalfa's memorial services. The public memorial is set for Saturday, January 24th at the Silver Dollar Fairgrounds in Chico. Gates open at 10 a.m. People must register online for tickets and should arrive early for security screenings. Instead of flowers, the LaMalfa family is asking for donations to the Oroville Rescue Mission.
Let's turn now to criticism of the governor's budget proposal for the next fiscal year, this time by healthcare advocates.
ABC10 State Matters political reporter Jenny Ha attended a rally today and has the latest tonight.
A lot happening at the Capitol on this Wednesday morning, but these advocates, they have been protesting against healthcare cuts for over a year now, from when Congress was first floating these federal funding cuts. And now they say the fight has come down to the state and local level, with the California legislature responsible for making up for those cuts.
That's criminal. We know that you are not responsible for these awful cuts. But now the responsibility does lie in your hands. Generating the revenue that we need is necessary to preserve and restore healthcare access, and we must make that a top priority this year.
Democratic Assemblymember Mia Bonta, chair of the Assembly Health Committee, joining healthcare advocates demanding state action to backfill the funding gap left by Congress's so-called Big Beautiful Bill.
This is federal leadership at its worst.
State officials say the cuts will likely cost California an additional $1.4 billion, of which $1.1 billion will be for Medi-Cal, the state version of Medicaid.
It provides me with my epilepsy drugs and other drugs that support me to keep me alive.
Amanda Parker faces high risk of seizures. She's able to afford 24/7 support by caretakers like Liliana thanks to state insurance.
There really isn't a plan to address potentially the loss of coverage for millions of people and what happens to them.
Advocates reacting to the governor's initial budget proposal, which acknowledged the cuts and absorbed the administrative costs resulting from new eligibility requirements, but provided no backup plan for the individual caseloads or benefits likely to be impacted.
And our message to him is, well, then what's your solution?
And we have to demand that the values of California be covered in that budget.
Because who gets to decide?
We reached out to the governor's office. The Department of Finance responded, saying the administration is not in a position to backfill for this change in federal policy, given the significant budget deficits projected for the future. Jenny He, ABC 10.
And advocates say they'll continue to keep an eye on lawmakers and the governor as they continue their discussions on the final budget.
The case against actor and director Timothy Busfield continues tonight after another alleged victim's family has come forward, this time in Sacramento. He's accused of inappropriately touching and kissing a minor. The victim's father reported this to law enforcement yesterday, saying his daughter allegedly had an inappropriate encounter with him several years ago at the B Street Theater in Sacramento. At the time, she was 16 years old and says Busfield kissed and touched her inappropriately. Court documents say Busfield begged the family not to report it to law enforcement if he got therapy, which at the time, the family believed it was the best thing to do. This all comes as Busfield is in the middle of another case in New Mexico, where he is charged with 2 counts of criminal sexual contact of a minor and 1 count of child abuse. A Sacramento-based defense attorney who is not involved in this case tells ABC10 what happens next is an investigation.
Once the allegation is received, that is typically when a statute of limitations would begin to toll, and they have a period of time to complete their investigation and either pursue criminal charges or decline to do so.
A judge in Albuquerque, New Mexico, has denied Busfield's release after the DA filed a motion to keep him detained until trial. Sacramento police say they're not aware of a report to the department regarding allegations related to Busfield. We have not heard from the Sacramento County DA's office in a request for comment. We have also reached out to Busfield's attorney in New Mexico, but did not receive a response. The Bernalillo County DA is expected to provide an update on this case tomorrow. Meanwhile, tonight, the B Street Theater confirms they are aware of this new report involving the B Street Theater approximately 25 years ago. In a statement, they say in part, quote, B Street Theater retained legal counsel at the time to conduct an internal investigation, and Mr. Busfield has not had any role in the organization since 2001. He is not involved in our current operations, staff, leadership, or programming. Although he is listed as an emeritus board member, he has not participated in theater governance or attended a board meeting since that time.
Sacramento police need your help tonight tracking down the suspects involved in a shooting that has left 2 people dead. In just the last hour, we learned both the man and woman have died. It happened around 8:30 last night on Evergreen Street. Well, so far, there's no information on a suspect or motive. If you have any information, please call the Sacramento Police or Crime Stoppers.
Coming up, President Trump weighs in on possible U.S. intervention in Iran, what the latest poll says about the public response.
Plus, some Democratic lawmakers say they're now under investigation from the Department of Justice after reminding soldiers to obey the law.
A couple of short-term forecast issues, fog and poor air quality. Plus, when we see a chance of rain in the forecast.
President Trump is weighing possible U.S. intervention in Iran, where anti-government protests are seeing a brutal crackdown. One aid group says the death toll is now in the thousands.
But a new poll shows U.S. voters think the U.S. should not get involved. Meanwhile, as ABC's Olivia Rubin reports, the president says it would be, quote, a good idea for any Americans in Iran to evacuate.
With reports of the death toll in Iran rising amidst violent protests, President Donald Trump has warned of potential U.S. intervention, but this afternoon saying he's been told executions will not happen.
We've been told that the killing in Iran is stopping, and it's stopping. And there's no plan for executions.
But the Iranians warning earlier today the violent crackdown would escalate. In video broadcast by Iranian state TV, the head of the judiciary saying there would be expedited trials and executions for those arrested. Tensions in the region rising, a U.S. official telling ABC News that some personnel have been asked to leave the Al Udeid Air Base in nearby Qatar, the largest U.S. military base in the region. Experts say it could be a warning of what's to come.
It is very important. It's heavily defended. I think right now, although this is certainly an indicator that the United States intends to take military action by sending non-essential personnel home, it is still fully capable of defending itself.
Anti-government protesters taking to the streets in Iran for weeks. One human rights group saying the death toll has now grown to more than 2,500 people in just 17 days. Video posted by Iranian state TV showing piles of body bags. 26-year-old Ergan Soltani is among those arrested. His family telling ABC News he was sentenced to death after just 2 days. They now say they hope they'll wake up and realize it was all just a nightmare.
And according to a new Quinnipiac poll, 70% of U.S. voters say that the U.S. should not get involved in Iran. That includes 53% of Republicans. Olivia Rubin, ABC News, New York.
Olivia, thank you. At least 4 Democratic lawmakers say they're under investigation following their involvement in a video urging members of the military to refuse illegal orders.
Senator Alyssa Slotkin, Congressman Jason Crow, and others have all said they've been contacted by U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro's office. They say they've been asked for interviews. It's unclear what crime, if any, the Justice Department may be investigating related to the lawmakers. President Trump has suggested the 6 lawmakers who participated in the video engaged in seditious behavior.
All of them are military veterans. A spokesperson for Slotkin says she is, quote, ready for anything. The Trump administration said the video was a way to undermine the president's authority as commander-in-chief. But the lawmakers say they were simply stating the law. Well, next at 5:30, the lottery is open to possibly get tickets to the next Summer Olympics. What you need to know.
Plus, a scenic highway finally reopens 3 years later on the beautiful Central Coast. Details after the break.
Our free ABC10 Plus TV streaming app has so much to offer. Get your news live and on demand 24/7 so you can watch the news when you want. There's breaking news, extended forecast, and so much more. We have everything you need to get through your day and ready for the weekend. We've got you covered on money-saving tips, travel, entertainment, and sports. Download the free ABC10 Plus app on your smart TV and popular streaming devices like Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and more. ABC10. We stand for you 24/7.
Okay, so it turns out the hottest ticket in LA might be a few years away.
Okay, so mark our calendars now. Okay, registration to enter the lottery to buy tickets for the 2028 Olympic events is now open. Actual tickets don't go on sale until the spring, but to get those, buyers must first create profiles on this website, la28.org. Registering for the ticket lottery is free, but it's only open to residents of LA, Orange, Riverside, and Ventura counties.
Now, the exception is for softball and canoe slalom, which takes place in Oklahoma City. Residents there can also register for a chance to buy tickets to those events. The chairman of the 2028 LA Olympics Organizing Committee has more.
And then starting in early April, you'll get a notification of what your window is to buy tickets. And people in LA and Oklahoma City will go first for a few days as they are the host cities. And then after that, open to the world to buy tickets. And we're going to put about 2.5 million tickets on sale to start with. We want to control the madness, so to speak, and make it fair for everyone. We're really trying to treat Olympic tickets differently than it has in the past.
So, something we'll be watching, huh?
For sure.
Good luck to those residents down in SoCal. Yep. Okay, a 90-mile section of Highway 1 on the famous Big Sur coast reopened today.
It comes after 3 years of closures and repairs following a series of landslides and a roadway collapse that hampered tourism on this scenic route.
Yeah, the first shutdown came in January 2023 when a series of atmospheric rivers caused a major landslide. The highway was buried by mud and rocks again the following year after another wet winter, and a lane also collapsed down a cliff near the Rocky Creek Bridge.
The reopening around midday came 3 months ahead of schedule, and business owners say that should give travelers plenty of time to plan their spring and summer road trips. Go out and do it. See as much as you can of this beautiful state. Growing up here is something we did a lot as a family, spent a lot of time in the car. I remember that road trip. I didn't want to sit near the edge, you know. It drops off a lot. It drops off.
You know,
Don't even start, Chris.
Look, I'm standing back here at the desk.
It makes you nervous thinking about it, right?
But I do have to say about it, because the timings is interesting because, I mean, we've had a pretty wet winter so far this year as well, and that's something I know folks are going to be watching.
I noticed right away with that video, the green hills on, you know, kind of bordering that roadway there. And we're continuing to see things stay pretty green. Now, here's the catch. We actually need to get things going again by the end of the month with some rain and snow to kind of keep that pipeline going, because January and February are our two wettest months out of the year. Air quality continues to be a concern. Burn restrictions are in place. That's first and foremost what we're tracking. You kind of noticed the brown haze hanging in the air. Beautiful sunset, by the way, with some of that particulate matter. Second up is going to be the fog, visibility concerns, and cooler weather. Finally, a pattern shift, and it's going to come deeper into the forecast. But let's start off with that first thing we're tracking. Air quality, a concern. Unhealthy to unhealthy for sensitive groups up and down the valley towards the coast, particularly for the valley and the delta. Now, this falls almost directly in line to what we saw with our worst fog that we saw for today. So burn status for tomorrow improving slightly. Sacramento County, no burning unless exempt. No burning unless registered continues for San Joaquin and Stanislaus counties. Looking at our conditions right now, we're well past sunset. Temperatures are hovering in the 50s to near 60 for the valley. Tahoe right now 37. Good visibility, but that soon will change. Now, we started off with morning lows today in the 30s. Expect a near repeat of that for tomorrow. Kind of have that inversion in place with the foothills, seeing that little strip, that thermal belt of warmer temperature. So what that does is basically lock that cold air into the valley. It also puts a cap on anything that's trying to get released from the valley. It keeps the fog in the valley as well as the poor air quality. Temperatures for today near 60 in the valley, 60s for the foothills, and near 50 for the Sierra. That light to beam forecast tonight, starting off at Golden 1 in the 50s, but will cool into the 40s post game. So it would be nice to see that beam kind of lighting up that chilly nighttime sky. Fog, though, forming for tomorrow morning's commute, and expect a near repeat into our Friday. A little bit of that erosion during the afternoon, but we're going to struggle to get that fog out of here for tomorrow. Our storm track is well amplified to the north of us, and that's going to keep all of the precipitation well into Canada for the time being. Once we get into next week's forecast, we start to see some things weakening with that strong ridge of high pressure and a band of rain approaching the coast. It'll be really interesting to see how much of that is actually able to bust through this dry air that's sitting over us right now. So a lot that we're going to be tracking into next week. Today, though, or tomorrow, we're going to see highs near 50 for the Sierra, 60s to low 70s throughout the foothills foothills. Highs are going to be in the 60s for tomorrow in the Bay Area, 50s as we head inland. A little bit cooler for our forecast tomorrow with morning lows in the 30s. Highs will warm into the 50s. Our extended forecast, we keep it dry right through the weekend. If you're planning to head up the hill or perhaps towards the coast, things look pretty smooth, at least weather-wise. But got to watch out for that fog over the next couple of mornings, especially as we dig into the morning commute, dropping off the kids at school or even getting your way to work. There's that chance of rain next week.
Oh, any little bit of sunshine we can get this time of year, I appreciate it. And
Yes.
the sunsets are gorgeous with the clouds mixed
It's
in.
certainly, tonight was stunning. Yes.
Just got to watch out for that fog in the morning time, huh?
Yep.
Okay. All right, Monica, thank you. Okay, so you know what they say about getting back up on the horse? Well, there's a new study that illustrates, just don't be afraid of it. Next.
Coming up new tonight on the news at 6. Streaming apps, monthly fees. Now you can add your car to the growing list of subscriptions. From remote start to safety features, what comes free and what car makers are now charging for. Details coming up.
Okay, so a new study finds that horses really can smell fear. Yeah, researchers collected samples of study participants' armpit odor when they were feeling scared, happy, and then just neutral. The researchers then exposed the horses to the different odors during standardized tests and observed the animals' behavior. It showed the horses' behavior was indeed influenced by the human odor compounds.
See, I knew it. I knew the animals were onto something. The horses exposed to odor compounds from volunteers who had watched scary footage were more likely to be startled and were less likely to approach people or investigate unfamiliar objects. The research was published Wednesday in the journal PLOS One. And that's very, very interesting. I have heard that from horseback riders. I am not one of them. I'm not that fancy. But they say, you got to be calm on that horse, kind of show them who's boss, but really know what you're doing, right?
Special shout out to our viewer, Rhonda, who had me on her horse, Rocky, recently. I was scared, and it could tell.
You were scared?
I was.
Did it sense it?
Rocky sensed it. Thanks, y'all. Bye.